everyone, my name is Irene and welcome to another episode of Theo and Olaf. Today we're going to crank up the heat and talk about something that's a little controversial, and that is, does it ever make sense to get a pet from a breeder instead of a shelter? Now, when it comes to getting a pet, many people advocate for getting a cat or dog from a shelter rather than from a breeder. You may have heard this term floating around called adopt, don't shop. So here are the common reasons why many people advocate for getting a pet from a shelter rather than from a breeder. A, it hurts shelter animals. There are millions of homeless cats and dogs in shelters, and every time someone buys from a breeder, another shelter animal waiting for a home is euthanized. B, breeders are simply out to make a profit since their animals cost so much. C, it hurts the bred pets. Harmful inbreeding can create genetic disorders. For example, bulldogs and pugs have developed pushed-up noses that can make exercise and even normal breathing difficult. In short, there's a certain stigma and shame around getting a pet from a breeder. While there's some truth to these arguments, I believe there's more to the story and I like to dig deeper. In fact, I like to push back on the stigma of getting a pet from a breeder, at least if the breeder is a responsible one. Instead of only asking, how can we save every animal from the shelter, maybe we should take a step back and ask, how do those animals show up in the first place? And how can we stop them from showing up at shelters to begin with? Let's jump right in and explore this heated topic. According to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or ASPCA, approximately 6.5 million companion animals enter U.S. animal shelters nationwide every year. Of those, approximately 3.3 million are dogs and 3.2 million are cats. Each year, approximately 1.5 million shelter animals are euthanized. That's over 600,000 dogs and 800,000 cats. Approximately 3.2 million shelter animals are adopted each year. That's 1.6 million dogs and also 1.6 million cats. And there are a few reasons why these animals end up at shelters. 1, stigma. This affects certain breeds of dogs like pit bulls and pit bull breed mixes, and they are the most common dog breed found in U.S. shelters. Pit bulls show up a lot due to overpopulation of the breed, but also because of the stigma that's grown with owning a pit bull. 2, overbreeding due to popularity. This affects certain dog breeds like Labrador retrievers. 3, behavioral issues. One example of a breed that can exhibit behavioral issues is the German Shepherd, which can become aggressive without proper training and exercise. 4, health issues. For example, certain breeds like the Dachshund can be prone to obesity without the proper care. 5, maintenance. One example is the Chihuahua, which can be a high-maintenance dog despite its small size. Sometimes there are also life situations that cause people to surrender their pets. For example, people might end up having a family and find out that the pet doesn't get along with their kids that well, or they end up moving to a new place and the new place doesn't accommodate the pet. But most dogs you see at shelters are probably not the ones you'll find from responsible breeders. So let's talk about the breeders you definitely don't want to shop from. So there's primarily 2 types of irresponsible breeders, puppy mills and backyard breeders. Puppy mills are places where dogs are bred for commercial purposes. Approximately 10,000 puppy mills are active in the US. They're designed to make a profit at the expense of the dog's health and well-being. Female breeding dogs are forced to carry litter after litter at the expense of their health. The puppies are shipped at a young age to pet stores across the country, often in close quarters and without much food or water. Many of these puppies become dogs with behavioral or health issues, and if their owners can't commit to dealing with those issues, where would the dogs end up? Yep, the shelter. Backyard breeders are amateur animal breeders who also breed and sell puppies for a profit. Unlike puppy mills, they breed on a smaller scale, like at a home with their pets. But they generally don't provide adequate veterinary care either, and they lack familiarity with the breed standard of the type of animal being bred, and can excessively breed individual females. Again, you definitely do not want to fund these places and contribute to the issue of unwanted animals with health and behavioral issues. So it's important to do your homework and differentiate the irresponsible breeders from the responsible ones. Responsible breeders should care deeply for their animals. They should have extensive knowledge on the breed of the animal and be able to screen for heritable traits that could negatively impact their puppies or kittens. Some common genetic disorders include hip dysplasia, blindness, deafness, heart defects, skin problems, and epilepsy. And perhaps most importantly, The breeder should ensure that you and the breed are a good match. When I was looking for a Samoyed puppy, the breeders I talked to asked me extensive questions about my capacity to raise a Samoyed puppy and gave fair warnings about the breed. One breeder, perhaps surprisingly, even gave me a doc of reasons why I shouldn't adopt a Samoyed puppy. Many breeders even said under no condition was I allowed to surrender a dog to the shelter. If there was a circumstance in which we weren't a match anymore, they would take the dog back. If you want to look for responsible dog breeders, you can check out the American Kennel Club, and we'll have the link for that below. So let's talk about breeder costs. The truth is, getting a puppy from a responsible breeder can certainly cost a lot. For a Samoyed puppy in California, I was getting quotes of upwards of $5,000, which essentially is an arm and a leg. But is the high price tag justified? In reality, there are a lot of things that responsible breeders pay for to ensure the health and quality of their dogs. So yes, I would say the high price can be justified, and responsible breeders aren't simply out to make a profit. So now that we talked about shelters and breeders, let's go back to the original question. When should you get an animal from a breeder versus a shelter? I'd say there are a few reasons why it'd be okay to get a pet from a breeder. 1, you're absolutely in love with a particular breed. And when I say in love, I mean beyond just its appearance. Behavior and temperament matter just as much. 2, you want predictable behavior and temperament. This can be especially important for choosing dogs for certain roles like service dogs. Shelter dogs, of course, can be trained, but it would take a little more time and commitment. If the breed doesn't matter as much to you and you have the time, energy, and resources to care for the needs of a shelter animal, then yes, I strongly encourage you to please provide a home for them. At the end of the day, it's about finding a good, lifelong match between you and your pet, whether it's from the shelter or the breeder. Pets do demand a lot of our time, energy, and resources, so no matter where you get the pet, be sure you can commit to them. As you know, Theo, our cat, is from a shelter, and Olaf, our future Samoyed puppy, is coming from a breeder. So we've experienced both worlds and have had positive experiences. Positive experiences. So in conclusion, with many people advocating for adopt, don't shop, I know it's controversial to say it's okay to get a pet from a breeder. I hope this video provided more light into the situation with shelters and what responsible breeders actually do. And we welcome your thoughts in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, and be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.